All right, welcome back to OpenLine. We were talking about the MLS Stadium that's been approved by council members, and those who are not happy include the two people left to me, save our Fairgrounds President and the attorney behind the lawsuit that they filed before the council vote. But let's get to the lines. I know we have Joe. Hey Joe, thanks for calling. What's your question?
Well, I live in the Vanderbilt neighborhood, and on more than one occasion it's taken me 30 to 45 minutes just to get from Natchez Trace to 8th Avenue South. And then after you get across 8th Avenue and you get past all the people getting on I-65 in the other direction, all the traffic that then gets squeezed down to 2 lanes to go into the railroad trestle. How do they plan on getting those people in and out?
Traffic is the topic.
Well, I really can't discuss that in much detail because the traffic study that was done was not released to the public readily until just before the third vote. And in fact, we didn't find out that there was a 20% increase in the neighborhood traffic until literally 3 days before the vote took place.
It was 28%, wasn't it?
28%.
Excuse me.
28% increase in traffic, 11,000 additional cars in the neighborhood. And so that's been an issue that's been brought up through this whole process. And they said, well, we have engineers and architects and figure that out, trust us. Well, to be blunt, I don't trust them. I don't. And they've been, the whole deal has been shifting from the time they started. When they first announced it, the fairgrounds the only place to put a soccer stadium. Well, then after a few months, oh, we forgot. We're planning on giving away 10 acres as an inducement to the soccer promoters. And if you look up the word inducement in a dictionary, the first definition is bribe. That was the term used in the actual legislation that approved the funding for the soccer stadium. Was their intent to give for free an inducement of 10 acres to the soccer promoters.
Can anything be done to traffic at all to appease whatever the 28% increase?
There's some things within the infrastructure that could be done, but most of those are going to involve Nolensville Road, which is a state highway. To date, unless they've done it today, nobody from Metro or the soccer promoters or the traffic planners have actually talked to the state of Tennessee Department of Transportation. So to say they have put the cart before the horse would be an understatement.
We are just going to pull out all the analogies and
I'm sorry. There's so many unanswered questions in this whole process, and let's do it just like when they voted to surplus the land, which they didn't really surplus. They voted to surplus a blank piece of paper.
Well, the question. Well, there are questions that I'm sure a lot of people, like Joe just mentioned. Were you going to say something?
No, go ahead.
Okay, we'll get to the line right now. I believe we have Jerry. Are you still there?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Jerry. What would you like to say?
I would like to ask about this referendum vote. The 31 council members that voted to basically overturn a law that the citizens had voted on. And I don't understand how they can actually do that. And is that actually something that we can sue them in court over for reversing a law that 80% of the voters of Davidson County voted on?
Yeah, thank you for that. Maybe, I think Jerry tuned in a little bit later.
Yeah, Jerry, thank you for that point.
31 to 8.
31 to 8. Ultimately, they will tell you that they're not violating the referendum that was passed in 2011, that all the existing uses will remain. This is the same government that kept a bookshelf in the bottom of the Ben West Library for a number of years and said it was still a library. Because when it stopped ceasing to be a library, it would revert back to the Ben West family. And so you could actually schedule an appointment and go check out a book on that bookshelf. And so they haven't defined how those existing uses will stay. So I think they're flying in the face of the 2011 referendum, but that's not what our lawsuit is. You can, by the way, if you want to help donate to the lawsuit, you can go to Save Our Fairgrounds on the Facebook page. We have a GoFundMe page where you can donate. Anybody can do that. Shameless plug there. But the public has a right for their government to honor the laws and the charter that creates them and that government has actually created. You can't ignore those laws because you don't like them or they don't fit to your purposes. If you don't like them, you change them. And I'll be glad to go through the process of changing the charter. I participated in the charter revision in 2011, and there's a process. It's a very complex process, and we did it. And 72% of the county voted to keep the fairgrounds as it was. And they're saying it's going to remain. So they're saying they're technically not violating it, but it's the same group that stretched the law.
And it should also be noted that they had a chance last Tuesday to put this, at least part of the MLS package, before the voters, to have a referendum, and they decided they didn't want to do that. They didn't want to give the voters the opportunity to have a voice in this. Well, the voters, the citizens, the taxpayers, have already expressed their voice. When they passed the referendum in 2011, they said, we want the fairgrounds to stay like the fairgrounds. And I think it's a tragedy. I mean, our Metro Charter is like the United States Constitution. It is the backbone of our government. And when the mayor and the city council sort of wipes their feet on the Constitution, that has ramifications locally as it does nationally.
In the irony of that voter referendum, they said they didn't have $50,000 to put it on the ballot, but the same night they voted to spend $275 million. I can't explain.
You're at a loss for words
I can't explain how that can be true.
Okay, before I want to get to, I do want to get to one caller. Hey, Linda, quickly, what is your question? Hey, Linda, quickly, what's your question?
It's really a comment.
Okay.
I hope you guys win on this lawsuit. People have come in and destroyed Nashville already, and it just keeps getting worse. All these people, if they want the big city life, let them go back to Chicago or Atlanta or wherever they're from instead of destroying Nashville.
Thank you for that, Linda.
I agree completely.
I will say overwhelmingly, I think aside from one caller, everyone has kind of been on the same boat.
Yeah, that's the response I've had from people for 10 years. And beginning next month, I will be fighting this for 10 years. I don't plan on stopping. I jokingly tell my friends it's not over till we win. But the fact is,
You're confident with that?
Yes, because this is part of our city's heritage and a very foundational part of our city. And if we destroy it, we sure as world destroy our city. And I love the city of Nashville.
All right, we'll wrap things up when we come back after the break. Thank you for all of the callers. We'll have much more coming up.